Hello friends, this is Shelley from Koala Knits and Knacks. I am so glad that you are here with me and that we can spend some time together. We are going to make this beautiful Christmas wreath. Oh, I just am so happy with how it turned out, and I hope that you enjoy making one as much as I enjoyed making this one. And you'll see the snowman that is sitting there in the center of the wreath. That will be a separate video, so be watching for that. I'll post it at the same time I post this wreath video. There's just no room in one video to do both of them, and it is a standalone tutorial as well, so please be watching for that one. And friends, I am showing you here some clips with the lights on and with the lights off. It looks great both ways, and I'll let you know what supplies are needed as we get into the tutorial here. But I just want to make a mention that I do have a PayPal and a Buy Me a Coffee link below this video. If you feel like you'd like to support my channel and support me in that way, you can click on one of those links. I really do love and appreciate you so much for supporting me in those ways. It does help and makes a difference in how many videos and tutorials I bring your way. So thank you for considering that. If that's not part of your budget, then just pass it by with no problem at all. I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad that we can be in community together. So once you have your well, you're gonna find out what your supplies are right away. Then we're gonna get started on this beautiful wreath. I hope you enjoy it, friends. Before we get to knitting, I'm going to show you the supplies that you're going to need. For me, I'm using Bernat Premium in the color white, and I'm using Loops and Threads Soft Classic in the color bright red. My machines, all of my machines, love these two yarns very much, so I know I'm not going to have any trouble in the panel mode using them, but you choose whatever is your favorite yarn and make this project with me using that. Here's the form that I'm going to use. It is a metal wreath form. I actually thrifted this at the secondhand store for $1. It had an ugly ribbon around it, and I just cut it off. And you can get these probably anywhere. I don't know, you probably can even get them in Dollarama. You can use a metal one like this, and this one is 15.5 inches across, I think. 15 or 15.5 inches across. You can use a metal one. You can use a styrofoam one. You can use even a wooden one and take off all the decorations and use that as your form. Doesn't matter. Use whatever you have and whatever you can get your hands on. And it doesn't matter if your thickness is more than mine or less than mine. Okay, you don't want a thin, narrow wire. You want some substance to it, but it doesn't matter if it's thicker than mine or a little bit narrower. Doesn't matter if it's styrofoam, metal, whatever it is. You can use it for this project because we're going to do our I-cord panels in sections, and so we'll just make them as we need them. All right, so you might need more rows in the overall length than what I need, or I might need more than you, and that's going to be easy to determine, and we can make it individual based on how we're going to do this pattern. So once you have your supplies, I'm going to start with the white because you can see it best in my machine than seeing the red because I'm using my Addi. So I'm going to grab my machine and my yarn, set it up, and I'll meet you right back and we'll get started. You're ready to begin? I have my 46 needle Addi set up, but friends, you can use your 48 needle Sentro, you can use your 22 needle Addi or Sentro, you can use your 40 needle, your mushroom, whatever you have and whatever you feel like you want to use. Because we are just doing a I-cord using a flat panel, and we're going to do it over 13 needles. But here's what I do. I leave it in circular knitting mode. When I do panels, I generally always leave it in circular knitting mode. I don't flip it up to the panel. Why? Because I like to make this middle black needle. You see, 1, 2, 3. I like to make this my center stitch count needle. And that is because then when I go back and forth, it's counting, my row counter is counting every row and not just every second row as it does when it's in panel mode and you start at the beginning. All right, so we're going to keep it in circular mode. We're going to bring our middle black needle in line with our yarn feeder. That is if you're using your Addi. We're going to, we're going to count back 6 needles from that center one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to start casting on this needle. Now you'll see I took a black permanent marker and I just marked the top of that divider. And that is to help me see the end of my row when I'm quickly knitting, and you'll see in a bit. You can use your Addi stoppers if you like, and then you'd put it 3 dividers over on this side and 5 dividers over on the other side. But I find this just as easy, even more so than using the Addi stoppers. I just like to mark my needle. This will rub off. If I just give it some really rough rubbing with my finger, it'll come off. It's permanent black marker, but it will come off. So it's not permanent there, even though it says permanent black marker, but use whatever you want. Put a little bit of nail polish on there, a color that you can see, and then you can use nail polish remover to remove it. Whatever works for you, but I like to mark it. Put a little, you know, heavy piece of tape on there so that masking tape, whatever you choose to use, I mark it with a black permanent marker. So then that needle right to the left of it is my first needle, and I'm going to cast on going behind it, in front of the next. So that's needle 2. Or in front of needle 1, behind needle 2, in front of needle 3, behind 4, in front of 5, behind 6, in front of 7, which is my very center needle, and then I'm going to do 6 needles on the other side. Behind, in front, behind, in front, behind, in front. Now I choose an odd number of needles because that way the first and the last needle have the yarn attached underneath the little hook there of the needle. Then you're going to go underneath that divider that's beside it and into your yarn feeder. Make sure you change your row counter to 0. So now I've also marked this divider with a little black mark so that I know when to stop. Now here's my first tip. Put that yarn strand down over that divider here, because then it pops that loop into place over those 2 red teeth and it's ready for you to go back. Now when I'm knitting tubes, I always hold my yarn between my 2 fingers like that because there's very little tension and I can feel what's happening in the strand. 4 panels, I hold it between my index finger and my thumb like that, and I give it a little tension. We need a little tension to help this first needle and the last needle knit, all right? But you know what? You can maintain that tension throughout the whole panel. You don't have to just tighten it at the beginning and the end like I've shown you in other tutorials. You can, but I'm just holding a consistent tension, and it's working as well. It's working well because this yarn works good in my machine. So it's under that divider that's to the left of that first needle. I've got a bit of tension on it, so that needle's picking it up and bringing it down. You're going to knit back until this line goes underneath that divider. Just like that. And then I always pull that strand down, and then you're going to go back. I have a little bit of tension on. Always keep your eye on the loop on the last and the first needle to make sure it goes down over those red teeth, because that's the one that will give you a little bit of hassle. See, this one needs a little bit of help until I get some weight on my project. And I'll go back and I'm going past this divider till it goes underneath, and then I go back. See, this one needs a little help just until we can get going with a few rows. And down and back. Oh, now it's starting to go down on its own, but keep an eye on it. And you're going to keep going back and forth like this. This is how you do your panels. Now, some might be saying, that is way too fast for me to learn. Go to my techniques playlist and I'll teach you how to do panels, and we'll go a lot slower than this. But basically, you're just going till it goes underneath that divider. You're having a little bit of tension on your strand so that this needle can pick it up and it doesn't slip over top of it. And it also makes for a nice even edge. And then we're going to go back and forth, just like this. You don't need weights at all for this project. Once it gets a little bit longer, you're going to just pop it between the legs of your machine and let it dangle over the end of the table. Either at the behind your machine, the side of your machine, or in front, whatever works best for you, depending on what table you have. But look how fast this goes. When you use yarn that your machine likes, you don't have to worry about tuck stitches. So we are making a wide I-cord here in no time. I'm going to keep going, friends, until I have 200 rows. I'll pop on in a bit and let you see my progress. But I'm just going to keep going. And as I've talked to you, I've already done, this is clicked on 36 rows. This is 37, and you can see why I use my black needles in the center of my panel, because it counts every row. That's counting, counted, counted. And so friends, how easy can it be? Like, it can't get easier than this. And it's fun and it's fast. 200 rows over 13 needles takes no time at all. And I'm already getting close to 50. So I'm gonna let you go and I'll see you back in a few minutes. Have fun. All right, so I've been going for a little bit here, not for very long at all. Actually, I should have timed it, but I bet you it's been, I don't know, 10, 12 minutes, not even, and I'm at 130 rows now, so it goes really fast. So the encouragement for you is to make sure that you use yarn that your machine loves. If you don't, then friends, you're going to be fighting with your last and your first stitches in particular, and you're going to get very discouraged and you're going to say, I can't do panels. But if I can do panels and I can do them at this consistent speed, then I am confident that you can do panels as well. So just follow my instructions and you'll get it. Again, I'm holding it like this and I'm putting a light tension on it. And I'm going to continue till I have 200 rows. I have my piece falling out the back between the back two legs, and it's working beautifully. And just in talking to you, I'm already almost at 150, so that's how fast this goes. Because we're only knitting over 13 needles, 200 rows is nothing. This is 99 and 200. There we go. Easy peasy. Now, as I mentioned earlier, it's best to just stick to 200. I mean, you could go a lot longer, but even when you're tying it onto your metal piece or your styrofoam wreath, if it's too long, it gets all tangled in itself and it's harder to work with. So my encouragement is that you stay with 200 and then you make as many of these as you need. But for now, we're going to take our yarn tail. We're going to cut off just a little tail, 8 to 10 inches. Unwind that and back up one length of the strip, just like that. Now all of these needles are loose and ready to come off. I'm just going to stand up and see if my back, yep, it's in the camera. I'm going to put that tail onto my needle and I'm going to pick up these loops. Now, if you can't see those first couple, you'll see as I come around. I'm just picking up the loops. They're now on those red needles. Be very careful that you don't drop the next one off. If you're unsure of your tension, just hold your finger over, pull it through, and remove all the rest. Just like that. Pull that through. And friends, give this a good stretch. Just run it through your hand like that. And you've got one of your I-cords already made. Look how that just wraps into itself, just like that. We don't need to sew that up at all. We're just going to use it just as it is. And you're going to go ahead and you're going to make one in red as well, or whatever your second color choice is. Whatever your two color choices are, you're going to make one in each. And we're going to start our patterning. You can make two in each because we know for sure we're going to use two. Depending on the size of your wreath, you may need to just have the two if you're doing a really small wreath. If you're doing one the size that I showed you, I'm going to need to do more than two of each color, but I'll determine that as I go along in the video with you. All right, so make your second color 200 rows the same way we made this first one, and then meet me back. So we have our form and our two I-cords. If you take that one end and you pull it tight, put that yarn tail on your needle. Then you take the end of your red one, or your second color, you pull that one tight. But we're going to now go into those top loops. So we're going to join the two. So I'm just going to pick up the best that I can. You don't have to get into that first stitch. Get underneath that first row. all around the top there and pick up those stitches. Then come over to your white one and from the opposite end of your tail, pick up those stitches. See, I'm just getting underneath the top row. And then when you pull together, they are joined as though they were one, except for cinched. So then what you're going to do is you're going to take those two tails and you're going to tie them in a knot. Then I'm going to cut them a little bit shorter and I'm going to hide them into the tube. I don't have to do anything more than that. Like, this is such an easy project. All right, so now, but what I want to do with this one is I want to hide this tail too on both ends. So I'm just going to go over to the other side here to join. Make a knot. Then make another knot. Just go into the center there. And tie that off. Cut it off. Pop that into the center. Easiest thing you can do. Okay, pull this one. Pop that on your needle. You'll have, if you're going to join, when you join your other tubes, we'll be able to use the strand that's on there to join them to the end of these two. All right, so I'm going to just pull that through. And once we get wrapping, we actually don't really need to officially join the other two like this. You'll see when we get there, but I'm going to just cut that off and pop that into the center of my I-cord. And you see how that just folds around itself beautifully. Now I just have a beginning point. All right, like I said, the next ones you don't have to tie together like that, but I want to be able to anchor this to start. So I'm just going to have that just like that. And I'm going to put that in the middle of my form. You might have a styrofoam form, and if you do, take a couple straight pins and poke it in the back there to hold it in place for you, and that'll help you as well. So I'm going to take my two pieces. I'm going to make them so the I-cord opening is facing up so that when I fold this over, I have the right side facing. I'm going to take the inside one, the red one, and I'm going to put it over top of the outside one. So take your outside one and put it against your form. Then take your inside one and put it over top. Then lift up and bring it through as though you're tying your shoe, like you're tying your lace. Bring that through. And then pull. I don't want it too tight, but I don't want it too loose either. So find the tension that you think is nice. All right, so now I have my first knot in there. I'm going to take my red. I'm going to bring it back into the center by going underneath. I'm going to take my white. I'm going to bring it back out to the edge. Just like that. So I cross them over each other and brought the white out to the end and the red to the inside. What we're going to do now is we're going to take the red and we're going to put it over the form. And then take that white and put it over the red. So you see, we've just done the opposite. Then put that through. I'm going to show you two different ways, so stick with me because this makes a really nice patterning, but I love the other patterning too. And then tie that. Once that's tied, you're going to take the white that's on the inside now and you're going to pass it underneath and switch it. Take that red, pass it underneath and switch it. We started by putting the red over the white, then we put the white over the red. Now we're going to put the red over the white again. So I'm going to put my white across, then take my red, put it over top, and I'm going to bring it through. And you're going to alternate like that all the way around. And I'll show you the patterning that it makes in just a second once we get a few more on. So there we go. So I started with red. Then I did white, then I did red over top. Now I'm going to cross these underneath again. Always cross them underneath. So red, white, red. White goes over top this time, so I'm going to put my red over the form. Then I'm going to take my white, and I'm going to cross it over top of the red, underneath, and feed it through. And pull it snug. And you see what it's doing here? It's making like knit stitches or a little rick-rack shape. I see it as a knit stitch. That looks like a like a stitch there. And so that is one way of doing it. So I started with red, then I did white, red, white. I'm going to cross these again. So I know the red has to go over top. It's the red's turn. So white, then red over top. So I'm alternating which color goes over top. And that is like that. Then I'm going to cross them. And I'm going to take this off in a second and show you another way. And I'm going to put the red, cross it with white, or did I do that wrong? Let me see. I'll bring it through. Nope, I did it right. And when you continue that pattern, you get these little zigzags. All right. And it's a nice bulky kind of a look. The other way that you can do it, which I actually really like too, and I'm struggling to know which one I'm going to leave it at because they're both nice. So I'm going to give you both options and you choose. So I'm going to just undo this. And you see how if you did this double the length, you're going to be fighting with your ends. So best to do 200 rows and make as many as you need. All right. Then when you get to the end one, you can estimate which one you need. So I crossed the red over the white on this one. And what I showed you before is then you would cross the white over the red, but I'm going to continue always crossing the red over top of the white and bringing it through. And I'll do a few with you so you can determine which way you like better. All right, so then you're going to switch these again underneath. You always cross them and switch them underneath. I'm going to put the white back over top and the red over top and underneath and pull through the loop and tighten. Cross them again underneath. Put the white over. Make sure that you're turning it so that the nice part of the I-cord is at the top. And I'm going to put the red over top. So basically I'm putting it over like that and I'm crossing it under like I'm tying a shoelace. And I'm going to do that. And now you'll see there is no zigzag. It's red on one side, white on the other side. I love that too. So, you know what? You might have to make two wreaths. One in green and white, one in red and white, one in red and green, one in pink and green, whatever your Christmas colors are. So white, red goes over top. And don't tighten it too tight. And there you go. Now what you can do too once that's on there is you can turn this all a little bit so that that white strand is in the middle. You just got to give it a rotation. The white strand is in the middle and the two reds are on the outside. I think that's my favorite actually. So I'm going to continue going like that because I did this last night and I stared at it and I took pictures and looked at the pictures and stared at it and thought, which way do I like better? I truly love them both. But I'm going to stick with this one, which is why I did it second because I didn't want to take it out and start over again. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch them underneath. Just like that. Lay my white, then the red over top. Make my tie, pull through. And I'll do a few of them, then I'll turn it so that it's up. All right, so switch them. White first. Red over top, give it a tie. But again, don't tighten it too tight, guys, and try to keep each one even tension. I'm going to give that a little twist. See if I can get another one. No, I can't get another one because of my red, so I'm not going to fight with it. I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to take the next two, Magic of Camera, because I already made two more. And I'm going to put that on there. I'm going to secure it. You can just tuck this in and then start over, but why waste any length? So I'm going to do it this way and show you what it looks like. But again, you can just tuck this in. See, I'm just picking up the top row of stitches on there, coming around, picking up the top row of stitches here, coming out with a knot. That just secures it for me. And I don't want this to be showing either, so you're going to manipulate it so it's tucked in. If you want to, you can pick up a few loops like this just to hold your yarn tail. Cut it off. Do that to your next red one. Where is my single one, actually? There we go. Hiding on the floor. I don't think I did this part to that white one. You connect the end on this one, then join it to this one by going around that top row of stitches. Just like that. Do it on this one. Pull through. If you can still find that yarn tail here, you can tie a knot, which you should be able to because you just tucked it in. Cut this one off. Tuck those tails underneath the I-cord, and then you continue. Finish off both ends, your white and your red, by tying them off. I'm going to just go over to this other side, pick up that stitch. And tie it closed. One more. Tuck that inside my I-cord. And do the same with my white one. Go ahead and do that to both. I'll meet you right back. Once I have them joined, I'm going to just continue on like normal. I'm going to cross them in the back. And see, this is where I tell you that you can make them in sections of 200 and then just add as you need. And then there's no guesswork on, you know, how long should I make one length to do the whole thing. And you're not fighting with your cords. All right, so I'm going to cross that over. Now here's where it might be a little tricky because I don't want to see that. So I'm going to see what happens here. Pull that through. Give it a tie. And manipulate it so that that little knot is covered. And then continue on. Cross that under. Cross this one under. We put our white one over first, then we did our red, and we did a tie. And that's how you join. I'm going to push that up, and then I'm going to just fix my tension. I want to make sure that those knots are hidden. You can pull it out from the back there just to hide your join. And there we go. Continue around, adding panels as you need them. So once I get these two connected, if I need a third one, which I will because I know one of them did a quarter of it. So the second one's going to do the next half. I'm going to probably need 2 more in each color. But once you get this next one on, you can spread them up, you know, they don't have to be so snug to each other because I'm going to be putting lights in mine. So depending on what you put in there, you can spread these out just a little bit. You don't want to see the form underneath, but you also don't want them squished together or too much separated. So it's just an eyeball thing. You got to look at it and say what looks best and then do it that way. All right, so I'm going to continue on. I'll make more if I need to, and we'll continue adding until we have it closed at the end, and when I get there, I'll meet you back. Now you can either twist this so you see red on both sides, or leave it the way it was when it naturally went on. I'm just going to put that back so that actually gives it more of a candy cane kind of stripe effect, in my opinion. I think I actually like that better than twisting it. See, there's so many options. It's just like, you got to play with it and make it look how you want it to look. And I can't wait to see what you chose to do. But I'm going to continue on. I'm going to finish my knots until I get around, and then I'll meet you back. So here's what I got so far, and surprise, I took it apart and I did the zigzag. I just was feeling that that's the one that I liked better, to see the V stitches like this, the zigzag. I love it. And it looks like, again, like a knit stitch, the way we're doing it, but I think it looks really pretty. So I have about a quarter section left, which means I need to do one more, probably well, I'll do the same. I'll do 200 actually, because I've done 3 and I've covered 3/4 of it. So I could probably make 180 or so fit on here. But I'm gonna do the full 200 of each color. So then that means I've done it 4 times. So that's 800 of each color. But you know what? It's only 13 needles, so it goes very, very, very fast. And all I did in the back was I had a extra thing of red, which is about 5 inches, and I just tucked it in underneath. That's all I had to do. Tuck it in up underneath all the other pieces, and hide your ends that way. And so the next one that I do, I'm going to just start it, knowing that I need to end this red one at the top here, so I need to start with putting my red over the white, I think. So this is where I began. So red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white, and I'll fix this a little bit later. Red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white. My next one is red over the white. Okay, so when I attach my piece, I'm going to put red over the white so that I can fix this next section. And I'm going to finish it off. All right, go ahead. Do another however many rows you think you're going to need. You can guess by how many panels you've already done, how many I-cords you've already done at 200 rows, and then guess, eyeball what you need for the last section. And if you have to spread these out a little bit to make your last piece work, if you make it a little too short, fine. If you make it too long, then you just tuck in your ends and it'll work. It'll work beautifully. I love it. I think it's looking beautiful. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to make my last 2 I-cords, and I will be back with you. All right, so here it is. I have finished. And what you want to pay particular attention to detail on is that when you start your sequencing by crossing over with the red, and then your second one is the white, always end on the second sequence, the white, so that you have a finished V. Otherwise, you're going to have it like that, and you're going to be missing the second leg of your stitch of patterning. So make sure that you complete your V. And then what I did is I just took my hands and I rotated it just a bit. Oops, wrong way. I rotated it a bit so that I have the white and the red equally showing on my wreath. And I didn't get it all the way done, so I'm going to just very gently manipulate that. And there's one more thing that I'm going to do after I do that. Oops, see, this one is a little bit looser, so we'll pull that in the back and tighten it. Let me get under there. That's where I changed. There we go. Changed panels. And this one, you can see, it's got the wrong side facing, so look for that and change that if you need to. And there we go. I think that looks good. And then what I want to do is in the center between the wide part of the V stitch, I'm going to pull out that white just a little bit all the way around, just in between. So here's my V stitch. It's in between the wide part of the stitch. Just pull that white out just a little bit. all the way around. These little attention to detail, oh, that was the start of it, end too, so I'll make sure that's tucked in good. These little attention to details are what make for a nicer project. Oh, that's, there we go. And just do that all the way around. Do you see the difference even that little bit made? Like, wow, makes a huge difference. Just gives a little bit of detailing that changes the look of your piece. From there, I am going to take some lights. Now, I have clear lights here. I also have some colored lights, and I put the colored lights on, and I thought for this piece I wanted to go with the clear. And so I only have a small strand. If you have a longer strand, then of course you can place them differently than what I'm going to do. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my one light. Doesn't matter if you have a section that you want to be the base. Like, I think this is pretty uniform all the way through, so I'm just going to choose. So let's just start here. I'm going to pop that underneath, just like that. So that is holding my base of my lights. Then I'm going to take my lights. I'm not going to wrap them around my piece. I'm going to do this strategically. So I'm going to go, here's the wide part of my V that is on the left. I'm going to go on the bottom half of that, and I'm going to pop this underneath just to pop out the center, just like that. I'm going to miss the next one, and then in the next one, I'm going to do the same thing. And we'll take care of this once we have our lights on, so don't worry. If I had a string of lights that were longer, I would do every one, but I don't have that handy, and I'm not going to run out and buy it right now. So I'm going to miss this one, go into this one. Pop it underneath there and into the center. And it just will give it a subtle look of lights, which is nice. I have one that's green, that's a lot longer, but I don't, you know, I like the clear cord on this too. Again, attention to detail, because I just don't want to see it. And I'm going to pop that underneath there, just like that. And so miss that one, go under this one. And under this one. And this one. And then I have one left. So it'd be great if you worked it out. If you're going to do every other one, it's good if you work it out so that you have the even spacing. So you might need to go and add another section and then squish it, like tighten it together so that you have even spacing between all of them. I wouldn't want to have an extra one here and then have two lights beside each other, unless then you made that your base, and that would work too. So I've got a couple extra ones here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over, and I'm just going to tuck them in and out of the way. Just like that. The nice thing about this particular wreath, just like that. The nice thing about this particular wreath is that you can take this off at any point and change your colors. Maybe you want to make one for the spring or, you know, summer or whatever, and use different colors. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some yarn. Let me just grab it here. Place a strand on my needle, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go, this is the back of my work. I'm going to pick up a section, bring it through, take that tail, grab it around this piece here, and I'm going to just tie. I'm going to tie a bow, because then if I want to remove the lights for any reason, I'm not searching for a knot. I'm just going to search for the bow, untie it, and then I can pull this whole thing out. Then I'm going to go around to the next one. Oops. Oops, I got it all tangled. 1 second here. Where are you? What did I do? Okay, there we go. I'm going to, oh mercy, you guys. There we go. The struggle is real. I'm going to go underneath, pick up, go through that red tube, go to this next white one, pick it up, and I'm going to stay on the white so that I don't see my line. And I'm going to pull that through. Then I'm going to take this next loop, go underneath it, and around and pull it up. Then go back over top just to form a little loop that's going to hold that in place. It can easily be removed if it needs to be removed. See, and that just holds that at the back of my work. I'm going to go in through the red, come out the white, and I'm going to, it's underneath my loop, so I'm going to just loop it and come across. And you see that that's holding my cord in the back, and you're not going to see it dangling out the front here. I'm going to do that all the way around. So I'm going to just go into this white one here and pick that up, bring it up, and continue. And again, you can see how that pulls it close to my work at the back, and so you're not going to see it. So then I'm not wrapping it around and seeing a cord. I don't want to see a cord on the front of my work. So here we go. Picking that up, pulling it up, going down, and I'm going to do that all the way around, staying on the white because then I won't see that line. And I'm going to hide my cord just like that. And again, because you're using a long enough one and you've tied it there, it's easy to take out if you need to remove your lights for any reason and change them. All right, so I might get myself a longer cord of lights and change this out and, you know, put them on every section instead of every other section. But I do like the subtleness of how this looks. All right, so then I'm going to just keep going, and I'm going to hide these ones strategically like that. All right. Friends, you go ahead and do that. And then once you have your lights attached and everything taken care, this one I might have to do, nope, I can go underneath. The way you like it, then see me back and we will do the rest of the decorations. Let me pull that. And I'm going to do one more here. Just when I said I'd see you back, I always stay with you. There we go. So now all I'm going to do is go back under here. I'm going to cut off a tail. I'm not going to pull that last one through. I'm just going to cut off a tail, use this loop as one tail, and I'm going to tie another bow. And that is hidden, and so is that. And there we go. Oops, I missed one, so I'll go and tack that down. But there you go. And then play with your lights because we were moving things around and pulling on it a little bit. Play with your lights, get them back to where you want them to be. And there you go. That's how I add my lights. Just a nice subtle, I like it on every other one actually. Then you see the pattern. Sometimes if you have too bright of lights on a wreath, you don't see the detailing that's actually on the wreath because the lights are so bright. So I'm gonna go and tack those two down that I missed somehow and meet you back. All right, friends, I actually went and found another set of lights in my, as I was looking for something, I found these really tiny, very small, delicate white lights on a very thin cord. And so I put them on the wreath underneath these white sections here. Now I gotta work at pulling some of these white sections out a little bit. And then what I did is I came back on and I showed you what we did for the center of our wreath. And it didn't work. So I'll tell you what I did, because I'm not going to keep that clip in, is I took a plastic lid. And I cut out a rectangle and I actually glue gunned it onto my piece here so that I would have a back for my feature item to lean against, which I'm going to show you. Well, you've seen it at the beginning, for my snowman to lean against, but it kept falling forward or backwards anyway, so it didn't really make a difference. So I cut it off, and this little guy is so cute. I thought, well, maybe I have to put him at the front here then, but I don't like that as much. So what you want to do is you want to go put your wreath, hang it on your door hanger that you have, set this on so you know how far back to put him. And like I had it too far back. And so then it was banging, it was against the wall and the wreath was like, it just didn't work. So you need to put this on your door, then hold your little guy on there like that to see where the best position for his bud is. I had it centered here, centered there, and it was too far back because this protrudes. So you need to have him up a little bit so that it's flush, more flush against the back like that. Now, when it's not on the door, of course, it's going to fall back or fall forward, whatever, when you're storing it. But when it's on the wall or on the door, the back of the door is going to hold that. So I don't know why I was thinking that. I don't need that. Silly. So anyways, I learned that, and we'll share that little mishap with you so that you don't have to do it and take it apart like I did. So I'm going to, if you have this flat against the wall too, like I held it up like this and then I sewed it on, put it flat even against the table like that, and then sew it on. And that's going to mimic what what the door will do too. So you just want to make sure. So I would say tack it on lightly, go put it on your door hanger and see if it sits the way you want it to sit. And then you're good. Now, also, pay attention to whether you want it to be in the center of that V or the center of the V that's like that. Either way is fine, but you don't want it off-centered so that this isn't in the center and this isn't in the center. So make sure that you pay attention to that fine detail. I'm going to place it right there, and I'm going to go into my piece closer to the front. I was closer to the middle last time, but I'm closer to the front this time. Leave a tail there, and then I'm closer. Before I went straight through the middle here, I'm going to go a little further behind at the back so that he's sitting a little bit further up on my wreath. And then I'm going to go back in. Nothing fancy here. Pull that through, tighten that, and I'm going to just sew him down the best that I can onto my wreath. I'm using my largest metal wool needle. You know that I love my metal wool needles. Let's get that through. This one is the longest one of the three that you can get in a package. Perfect for this kind of work. So then I'm going to go up closer to the leg there and get in there again and go across. I'm going to go make sure that that sits on my door hanger. And if it doesn't, I have him up far enough, then I'm going to sew him down a little bit better like that and go from there. So that's how you're going to attach your little snowman, knowing that when he's not hanging on the door and you're just holding him, he's going to flop back or forward. But that's just goes to show that, you know, that's just because he's heavy, right? And I never thought of that when I added that plastic piece. I thought, oh man, I got to have some support there, but you don't, because the door or the wall is the support as long as you don't have him too far back on your wreath. All right, so I'm going to go try that on my little door hanger and I'll be right back. So after sewing them on the front, now ignore this piece because this is the one that I shouldn't have put on here, but I did. This is for me, so if I was giving this as a gift or selling it, well, I would redo it. But this is trying to figure it out for you as well. So, or you could cover that with something, but anyways, you're not going to do that, so you're fine. But what you have to do is you have to then go up into his back. So I trailed my yarn to the back. You can't just sew them in the front, and you have to sew them down in the back as well. So bringing that through. I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring that underneath. I'm going to pick up some there and go back in. And that stabilizes him, and that will hold. I don't have to do any more than that, so I'm going to tie this off. And one more. Hide my end. cut it off. Now, these are my ties for when I did my ties around the lights. I'm going to hide those. See, you can clean this up. Once you have everything, you know, have your little snowman on, you can clean up the back. Once your wreath is completely done, you can just come back to the back here and straighten everything out, and it's beautiful. No harm done. So I'm going to go once again, but I already can tell that it's, oh, something missed this one, that he's a little bit more sturdy now. So I'm going to hide this tail that I had at the front here and go try him on my door again, and then I'm going to embellish him a little bit, this wreath a little bit more. All right, friends, this is what I have come up with. And I went and I glue gunned the back of that bell to the greenery that I have there, and that is holding it in place. And actually, that works perfectly. What I did here is I thrifted this one. $2.50 at my local secondhand store, and these are all picks. So I just took the picks out, as many as I needed. I could still use this one if I want, fluff out the things and put something here. But anyways, I just am a real thrifter. And so thrift stores are your best friends. Go ahead and, you know, thrift something that you can take apart. I bought these little bells at the Dollarama, and same with these little balls at the Dollarama. I actually also bought these acorns and pine cones in a bag at the Dollarama. Dollarama is a great place for crafters. And so I just glued them in there. This pick was on the bottom of that other wreath that I just showed you. It's got this poinsettia and the greenery and this little gold ball there. That was a pick that I stuck in there. And I think that this looks absolutely beautiful. I love it. I hope you do. Let me turn on the lights. And there you go. I hope you can see that in the camera. I'm very proud of this one, very proud of it. And I hope that you make one. Take the time that it takes to do it, and be proud of it, and show us in my Facebook group so we can all be proud of you and cheer you on as well. So there you go, friends. Oh, some of these are crooked, so I will straighten them out. It was fun. I loved this project. Here's a little bit closer look at the embellishments that I put on. I should have done that on camera with you. I don't know why I didn't. It's too late now though. So those picks that I took out of that other wreath, I just stuck them in underneath the I-cord pieces. I didn't glue them in at all. And then the bells and acorns and pine cones and little ornaments, those I glued in around. And that's really all that's in there, except for that piece with the poinsettia that has the greenery on it. That was one piece as well. That was a pick, and I just pushed that up into the I-cord as well. Didn't glue that one either. So that's all I did. It looks more detailed than that, but it was very simple to do. Well, my special yarn family, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Please don't forget to post your projects in my Facebook group so we can cheer you on and see your beautiful work, and post in other Facebook groups as well, and always add the link so people can find my channel. Often things are posted and people are asking, where did you get this? Where's the pattern? And people who post don't always answer and add the link, so I find I'm racing around adding links here and there and everywhere. So if you would help me out by doing that, I would appreciate that very, very much. Thank you for supporting me in that way as well. All right, friends, take care, have a blessed day, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.